Hey, I thought I'd check out the Kritika open beta. They have made some changes. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that I'm waiting for is still not in the game, which is why I have not been playing it. I'm sure you know, one of the main reasons this version of the game is still a little bit behind the others, and it doesn't really have much to do with content, is there's an NPC that's added, kind of like Delilah from DFO. You can talk to her, and you can accept and complete quests from her without going back to town, which in this game is a godsend, because the loading in this game is pretty long. Apparently someone posted a thread on the official forums for this, for a way to reduce the load times, but it still takes a long time. The gameplay loop is kind of limited by all the walking you have to do. Now in Season 3 of this, I believe it's Season 3 or late Season 2, I'm not sure. I'm not exactly an expert on this game. I've only gotten like halfway through the cap, but they added that NPC. For some reason, even though the client for this is well past that point, they do not have that. So until then, I'm probably not going to be playing this that much. I like the flow of it before. They seem to have fixed a lot of the problems people had with the items on the auction house. They've also made it so that the drops that you get in party play are supposed to only be for you, which, considering that they're kind of limiting the the trading that you can do on the auction house, I think that's going to be a pretty good change as well. Apparently they have also changed the prices on some of the stuff in the cash shop. They still have made this tutorial is still way too long. I'm not sure why they made it like that. Let's see if they've changed anything, but I've heard that the boss still has like 50 health bars for no reason. See, I'm kind of concerned that since they're not adding that NPC to make the gameplay flow better, now the game is an open beta. Like, how many people are going to stop playing because of that? I think that's a very real issue that they should consider. They should have put that in back in the beta. But I think they're just at the point where they're trying to make the game seem more lively. Because in their defense, it does make the game feel less populated. So maybe that's the reasoning behind it. I am still waiting for controller support too. They've dropped some hints about possibly adding that in the future. But since NMAS does not make the game, obviously that's something that they will have to talk to the Korean developers about. Who knows if that will happen. They did make that a little faster. So I got my my cash, the extra 20%. I got that, so I have $24 of in-game cash to work with, which I think is pretty nice. And I know there's probably some people that spent a lot on the beta. I didn't even feel like really playing the game. A, without that NPC, and B, because they're obviously, they wiped. But apparently some people got to the cap really fast. I don't think they've made any changes to the rest point system, so you're still going to see a pretty huge deficit in your experience and drops once you get past that first bar. So if you played the closed beta, if you got a key from somebody or you paid for it, then unfortunately that has not been changed. So if you've if you played this and you thought that the game, you know, the flow of the game was kind of off, it is not just you. The Koreans probably complained about it for a while. But it wasn't until like I think a year or two ago that they added that on the Korean version. So it's a relatively recent change. And I guess when you're taking a risk, you know, localizing an old game like this, which isn't terribly popular. I think the only really popular version of this is the Chinese one. It's kind of the DFO is kind of like that now too. Like a lot of, I think, Korean players are getting kind of tired of DFO because of how long they've been playing it. You know, a lot of the problems with the end game have not really been addressed. But the Chinese version prints money, so the Korean version is basically kind of making content for that version indirectly. And I hear the Chinese version of this is like the best performing one. So I guess when you know that the chances of your game, you know, doing better than that is pretty much slim to none, maybe they want to make sure that the town doesn't look so dead, because you know, some people do care about that stuff. I've never really particularly cared about it in instance games like this, because you know, you only really need like a maximum of 3 other people playing the game with you. It's similar to a fighting game. You know, people go on you know, a game like Guilty Gear on Steam and they complain that there's like 300 people playing. It's like, well, if you're only going to interact with 8 of them at once, does it really matter if there's 200 players? At that point, you're pretty much just, you're not even, it's not even possible for you to interact with them. The game does not have any kind of you know, economy system. You're not going to buy like a new move off somebody or anything. But people do tend to get pretty judgmental about games that don't have a large player base, even though, depending on the game, it may not even matter. And obviously, there are times where it is valid. It is valid to have those concerns, like when Nexon DFO was pretty much on its last legs, and you know, for whatever reason, they didn't want to just come out and say that the game was dying. Like, a lot of people were on the fence about playing it. Even people who had spent a lot of money on it were not playing and were not logging in because they felt like it was pointless. And of course, that ended up being true. There wasn't really much of a point in doing, you know, your daily Otherverse runs and stuff. Whatever the dailies were back then, it's been so long, I don't remember. But going on to do all those menial tasks doesn't really have as much of a incentive when you don't even know if the game's going to be around. There's also the issue that the game is not on Steam yet. I don't know when they're going to do that. I know that Steam does take a cut of the profits when you put a game like this, any kind of free-to-play game. So I don't know if that's the reason why they don't have it on Steam, but I think that will definitely help for visibility. I think DFO does pretty decently on there. So I'm not going to subject you guys to the rest of this. I'm probably not going to play this too much until they add that NPC. NPC is a lot like some of the changes they've made in DFO and PSO2, where you get a taste of those changes, and then you just don't want to go back to the way it was before. That's kind of how this game is. So I think I got a 30-day Elite voucher for this. I'm probably not going to use it, assuming it doesn't expire. I'm probably going to wait until that NPC makes it over. But you can see that they've lowered the prices of the avatar bundles. I believe they were like 20 bucks on the closed beta, which is pretty crazy considering that these are not the highest rank that you can get. I think if they were the rare avatars, then it would make more sense. But here they've... Hold on a minute, I had to tab out of something. But here they've cut the price in half. So even with the 2,400 cash credit I have, I can probably suit up like another character if I wanted to. I don't think they've added too much else in here. This was not here before. Experience boost potion plus 90% for 1 hour. I think those are attack speed potions and attack strength potions. Probably not a bad idea. I don't think they let you look at the costumes without seeing them. Oh, there you go. So I don't think they've done too much here. But I'm definitely glad that they addressed this at least. I know that a lot of people have been upset with the way that they're handling the auction house because it's obviously it's an attempt to prevent real money trading. But at the very least, you can gear up your character for a lot cheaper. I think avatars actually do end up being pretty important in this game. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this game. But from what I've seen from the few Koreans that play on Twitch, it actually does seem to make a pretty big difference. So the fact that they've lowered it to just under 10 bucks is actually pretty nice. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I just wanted to post a first look of this. Once they add that NPC back, I'll probably continue playing. It's just one of those things that it's such a huge improvement. I don't know why they didn't have that in the first place. I mean, even DFO, I mean, it took them like 10 years to really address that, but that game still has the same problem too. You still run into a lot of times where you have to go back to town for no real reason, and I think that stuff is just it's a remnant from the old design of the game where, you know, partying was more important. But partying in DFO is pretty much useless unless you're at the end game. Like, there's no real reason to, unless you're like dual boxing on another account or you just want to play with a friend. But in terms of like actually getting through the content, it's not important. So I can see why, you know, they still have that in there, as annoying as it can be when you're playing solo. But here, the towns in this are a lot bigger, so it does definitely kind of makes fatigue set in a little faster. Before I go, I should check what I got in here. Oh, so I got the title from the Founders Pack, and then I got some item for just playing in the open beta. I think it's because I got the level 15 or something. Oh yeah, it says right there. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. I'll probably play more of this once they update a little more. I'm not sure what their content plan for this. The client, as far as I know, has, I guess, most of the files or the capability to pretty much be relatively caught up to Korea, or at least the Southeast Asia version, which is the version I was playing before, for those of you who are uninitiated. But I don't know when they're going to roll that out. Now that we're in the open beta, I assume that they're probably going to do some more polish. I'll keep you guys posted. Anyway, catch you guys later. Peace.